University, and she gave some people this task. You have a candle, a box of tacks, and a box of matches, and a corkboard. And what you have to do is to put the candle up on the corkboard and light it in such a way that the wax doesn't drip on the table. Excuse my art, but I've drawn for you here a picture of the setup. Okay. Here's the problem, you see. If you get one of these tacks out and you try and stick the candle starts sort of breaking off, and actually the tacks aren't long enough, and perhaps you can do something, maybe you can make a little platform with. It takes people about 10 minutes before they start to get a grip on this, sometimes 20 minutes. Okay? What Eisen found is if you put people into a happy mood, then they solve this problem more quickly. They have wider associations, they become more creative. I'll tell you how to do it. What you have to do is to empty the tacks out of this box. You use the box as a tray, you pin the tray to the corkboard, you put the candle in and you light it. Right? So you could all do this, but it would take you some time. But if you're in a happy mood, then these, as it were, unusual solutions come to you more quickly. And so one of the things we found as psychologists is if you want to be creative, it's as well to be happy. If you want to do your income tax, it's best to be anxious. Right? So if you have a task which involves going through a number of steps very carefully and not missing anything, you need to concentrate on this and be anxious about it, and then you'll do it better with fewer mistakes. So in other words, different kinds of tasks are facilitated by different emotions. Understanding emotions. All right, this is my Talaby's examples of understanding emotions. Can you understand how one emotion state can lead to others? How are emotions caused and what can follow from them? What about mixtures of emotions? Do they occur? How do emotions change from one to another? Now, about 1595, Shakespeare wrote the play A Midsummer Night's Dream. And one of the great ideas in Midsummer Night's Dream is a thought experiment. So we think that when we're trying to find someone who we'd like to have a relationship, we think, well, yes, I'd like him or her to be handsome. I'd like them to, be able to make me laugh. That's what women say, isn't it, about blokes? You've got a kind of checklist. It's not exactly the same as buying a flat or an apartment or a house, but there's a bunch of things. Shakespeare says, no. Think about it like this. Imagine that when you're asleep, a little creature drips something into your eye, the juice of a little western flower, we now call it a peptide, of course, and then when you wake up, you fall in love with the person you first see. So Puck does this to Titania. Bottom, you remember, in this play has been turned into a donkey and is going, ee-aw, ee-aw. And Titania says, I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again. Mine ear is much enamoured of thy note, and I fear virtue's force perforce doth move me on the first view to say, to swear I love thee. So what if an emotion, as it were, sets up the frame for a certain kind of relationship, and then we find the words appropriate to it? It's a good thought experiment. Managing emotions. I mean, this is the thing that I think a lot of people worry about. Emotions sort of happen, but then can we control them? And so here's a bunch of issues about that. Can we be open to our emotions, both the nasty and the nice ones? Can we follow our own emotions? Can we engage in or prolong or detach from an emotional state? Can we manage emotions in ourselves? Can we imagine and manage emotions in others? This is a problem that any of you who are parents will find particularly pressing in relation to your children. But it's a general problem. And if we go back again, I'm going to keep harping on these people from 400 or 500 years ago. If we go back to the Renaissance, some of the most famous pictures in the world by Botticelli were painted for the villa of this young man, Lorenzo di Pier Francesco de' Medici. And Botticelli worked with one of the most famous writers in the Renaissance, Ficino, who was tutor to this young man. So here is one of these famous paintings. Now this is Flora, and she's the one that you often see reproduced as a detail. But this here is the classical goddess Venus, or Aphrodite, but now in a wonderfully Renaissance way, somehow merged with the Virgin Mary. It's a sort of peculiar thing that went on in the Renaissance. And she's the one who you're supposed to see at the centre. And you'll see here Botticelli's painted something that looks like a rather lovely halo. And what you're supposed to do is to see these mythological figures as representing aspects of character and emotional life. And here's something that Ficino said he wrote a letter to this young man or adolescent after this painting had been given. The astrologers have it that he is the happiest man for whom fate has so disposed the heavenly signs that Luna, the moon, is in no bad aspect to Mars and Saturn. So Mars, of course, is anger, Saturn is sadness. That furthermore she is in favourable aspect to Sol, the Sun, and Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus. So that's Venus, love. We must not look for these matters outside ourselves, for all the heavens are within us. And the fiery vigour in us testifies to our heavenly origin. Onward then, great-minded youth, dispose your own heavens. So arrange your own emotional life. So this is, I don't think Goldman's got this in his book, has he? I think I probably have it in my book. This is the sort of way in which I tell you mine is much better than this. So what Ficino said is you should fix the eye of your soul on Venus herself. That is to say, on humanity. See? This is the right place for this, isn't it? A nymph of excellent comeliness, born of heaven, and more than others beloved of God all highest. Her soul and mind are love and charity. And if you were to unite with her in wedlock and claim her as yours, she would make all your years sweet and make you the father of fine children. So if we just go back then, you see, this is on the wall of this young man's villa. And what he's supposed to do is to see here Venus as he's arranging his own personality. All right, so in more modern times, I've already made one joke about the pursuit of happiness, but here's some interesting research by a guy called Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Not everybody can pronounce that. What you have to do is to have a Hungarian person take you on one side and they say, well, it's quite simple. What it actually means is the village of St. Michael, right? Czech, St. Mihaly, okay? So it's, I don't know, I'm not Hungarian, but you know, once someone explains, it's not so difficult. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi.